Um, my name is Javon Myers, and today we will be discussing the case analysis regarding Little Pines Daycare. The key facts of the summary: Little Pines was a early learning center and is a private daycare and preschool in a rapidly expanding suburban community in the southeast United States. It was created in 2020 by former elementary school teacher Jordan Ellis. The center aimed to give working families instructed childcare for an affordable price. While this daycare was thriving, it hit a few bumps in the road with staffing and technological operations. The increased volume of children that was enrolled into the daycare ended up being too much for the staff that the daycare already had. While they did produce latest ideas to keep the parents in the loop with keeping track of their child, the app that was created did not match with the short staffing to match the large enrollment of children. Now, staffing and affordable staff would be the issue with problem one. When you're running a daycare, prime example with Little Pines, they had 60 children enroll, which may not really seem like a lot. And I personally did work, not necessarily at a daycare, but a summer camp. And I want to say for each one worker, I think you're responsible for like 5 kids, which is a lot, depending on the age group. So at Little Pines, they don't even have that. So they had the kids come in, which is great because it means more money, but they didn't have the staff. So the case analysis stated that Little Pines had 60 new kids come to their daycare. The high demand for childcare did not match the staffing that the Little Pines had at the time of enrollment, which I did state. When working at a daycare, you need people all over the place to cover every area. Little Pines had the right idea, but did not pay attention to short staffing. And this kind of ties into the next problem, which is the app that they created. This app was an app that you could use on your smartphone, or it may have been through the daycare. That when parents drop their child off, the parents are able to keep track of their child and what they're doing. I wouldn't even say really keep track because some parents have anxiety when dropping their child off. I'm not a father, so I don't really know how it is, but I do know there are some parents or a lot of parents out there that when their children are at a younger age, dropping your child off, at a daycare can be kind of you know can give you a little bit of anxiety considering when you're at work, you're gone from your child all day. And so this app was basically created to where if you just want to check in and see what your child is doing, you'll be able to do that from wherever you are. And this app was a great idea for parents to be able to check on their child whenever they drop them off. Over half of the parents that drop their children off will head to work, which means they will not see their child until they get off after a long day. The app that was created was a very smart way to let their parents be able to be in the mix with what their child is doing after they drop them off. The main issue, yes, this is the main issue. So they made a great app, but in order for the app to work, they needed more staffing. And so they only had enough staff to really cover for their children. They were uploading videos, but it just wasn't updated videos on like their child and what they were doing. So if you were to have somebody to work the cameras and be able to upload the videos in a timely manner for the parents to see, then it will work much better. And this ended up just sparking concerns because, when parents are dropping their child off and they're paying each week for their child to go there, they shouldn't have to have any worries, whether it's food, um, you know, um, stuff like this, apps, which is extra services added on that the daycare is providing, and other stuff. And so that was one of the main problems. Solution to problem one: connect to local colleges and universities with early education programs. So this would be a great idea because instead of just going out in the real world and looking for somebody who's qualified to work at a daycare, you could connect with your local colleges in order for people who are seniors in college who need practicum hours. These men and women could be able to go to this daycare like Little Pines, get the practicum hours they needed, see how they fit in the working environment, and then once it's time for them to venture out and find a job, whether it's Little Pine or wherever, they're able to go in the work field and work at a daycare. Um, Solution to problem two: either a better app or hire staff to strictly manage the app. This kind of goes hand in hand because um, in my head, when I was reading this, I would think that they would be smart enough to make an app to where the cameras are rolling 24/7 that they can watch their child. I didn't really get how you're having an app and you're only able to see bits and pieces of what your child is doing. I would think that parents would have camera access to watch their child. But then again, I mean, I don't I was kind of confused on that part. But these two go hand in hand. The parents can watch their child from wherever they are, which is very inconvenient for any new parent. The downside of this is that the daycare cannot upload to the apps on time due to short staff. Like I mentioned earlier, they had 60 new kids enrolled, which is a lot of kids. It may not seem like a lot, but that's a lot of kids for a daycare like Little Pines. And so at a daycare, you need short staff. You need short staff. You need front desk ladies to check people in and out. You need ladies working in the office. You need people for their app, like so parents can checking on their children, and then you need just regular staff, such as teachers, working with the kids one on one. With addition on new people on staff, you will have staff that can care for children, front desk workers, along with the staff. That camera angle for only parents to tune into their children. Parents pay a substantial chunk of money weekly to send their child off while they work. It is only for the daycare does their part by hiring the properly equipped staff. And to touch on that money part, like I said, I don't have kids, but I went on Safari and it said that on average, parents spend $332 a week on daycares, which is $1,328 a month just for one child. And that's nuts because you got mortgage, subscription bills, random car maintenances, food. If I didn't mention mortgage already, if I did, sorry. Utilities, all this other stuff you still have to pay. So you still have to pay $1,328. Now, grateful for the people out there who have babysitters because they're saving all that money. But on average, a parent will pay $332 to send their child. And mind you, if you have multiple children, 2 to 3, that's a lot of money you're coughing up per month. The conclusion would be with Little Pines being an extremely high rated daycare, there is still a lot of room for improvement. For them to have better future access to daycare should set aside a time should set time for a plan of action before making decisions. Statistically speaking, like I mentioned before, parents across the U.S. pay $332 per week for the child to attend a daycare. That is $1,328 a week for just one child. If parents are spending their hard-earned money for their child to grow, the daycare should be doing any and everything that they can provide good and reliable services for the child and the parent. If the staffing increases and the technological problems get resolved, Little Pines will continue to blossom as a very high-rated daycare.